If you are a people pleaser, you need to watch this video because most of my life I have been a people pleaser. I have said more yeses than nos. And every single time I said yes, I took damage to my self image. I felt weak. I felt like I wasn't in control of my time and my actions. And I would always say yeses to the things I didn't want to do. And I have a list of things written down on my laptop right now that I'll go through and I'll tell you exactly how I solved this bad mentality, this bad habit that occurs subconsciously automatically. And I'm going to teach you exactly how do you break it. But before that, this video is not going to have any edits. It's going to be me talking to you, giving you the best knowledge I have on this topic and nothing else. If I mess up, if I stutter, it's not going to be edited out. If I take a pause to think, it's not going to be edited out. So you need to focus. Put the video on full screen. Don't look at the comments. Don't look at any other suggested videos. Just listen to my words, look at me, and take in the knowledge and information I'm going to give you in this video. Let's begin with the number one thing. Why do we do that? Why did I say yes to the things I didn't want to say yes to? Why did I not say no to that person for that invite to a party, even though I know I have examinations or I know I have a schedule? I know I don't do those things, but I still said yes. Why is that? Well, in my personal case, it came from school. That brainwashing came from school. Every single time I would say no to something, or I would disobey the authority, which was teachers, principals, or my friends, it would be negative. It would be painful. They would scream at me. It was traumatic for me. And that is why I always said yes to everything. Since sixth grade or sixth class in school, I was sitting at the first desk and I would say yes to everything, and I would hardly ever disobey anything. And I would be following the script, I would be following the advice of my teachers, my parents. I wouldn't say no ever. And that's a problem. You may think that's not a problem, but you need to be capable of challenging the authority, and you should be fearless in doing that. And when you're not doing it, that's when you say yes to everything. That's when you feel like pain or discomfort to say no to something that you don't want to do. So, number one thing is going to be understanding where it is coming from. So, I would actually give you an action step, which is to take a piece of paper out and write down, why am I doing this? Why am I trying to please people? Why am I trying to be nice? Why am I talking and changing my entire behavior for certain people? Why is that? And I want you to ask yourself 4, 5, 7 questions and go deep into this loophole or this problem you're facing right now. Take it very seriously. If you want to solve it, you have to journal about it and understand why it's happening in the first place. That is exactly what I did. I journaled for pages upon pages. And then I realized in fifth grade, I got bullied. In sixth grade, whenever, or in fifth grade, I got bullied. And then I had like a tremendously strict teacher. And every single time I would do something wrong, I was so afraid of making mistakes because she would scream at me. She would be terrifying. And I hated school. And it gave me so much traumatic problems that still to this day, like for example, in group settings, I don't speak louder. That's the one thing I realized. So if I'm in a group and I want to say something and add something to the conversation, I would speak in a low voice, and I would do it automatically and nobody would hear me, and then I'll feel awkward. And I didn't realize why it was happening until I journaled and actually thought about it. And I was like, wait, that came from me when I used to talk in a group of people in like fourth grade. Everybody would laugh at me, and that's where it came from. And there were multiple different instances in my life that basically made that behavior more certain, and I did it automatically in my adult life. So you need to be very mindful and careful of the brainwashing, of the random instances that has happened and taken place in your childhood that is affecting you right now. And the way you destroy those things is by firstly understanding it and understanding why it's happening. So you need to firstly be aware of where that specific character trait is coming from. Once you understand that, then you can try to come up with solutions. And it's not even like, okay, this is the exact solution that worked for everybody and this is the blueprint. Different things work for different people. I'm going to give you the things that work for me. And yeah. So secondly, you need to set boundaries. But before that, you need to reframe your beliefs and you need to change your mindset. And this is what I did. One day I was like I came back and I was a people pleaser. So I wasn't happy because I said yes to some things. And somebody said something about me, and that person was like saying that same thing over and over again. And I didn't like that. But since I was a people pleaser, I didn't say it to their face that, hey, I don't like this. I'm upset. And I came back and it was my breaking point that day. And I was like, living a life like this where I'm trying to please everybody is exhausting and it's literally ruining my life experience, my happiness, and it is depriving me of self respect. And that day, I started to look into and research about people pleasing and all of these beliefs I had, the things and habits I was doing automatically, subconsciously. And the number one step I took was to reframe my beliefs. I started to write down the character traits of the version I want to become. I started to set up some rules and boundaries in my life. I started to reframe the way I see myself. And I started to say to myself that, hey, I can comfortably say no to things I don't want to do. I say more no's now to people than I say yeses. Everybody that comes up to me for something, they want something from me, they asked for it, or anybody who just does something that I don't like, I just immediately tell them that, hey, this is something that you did. I didn't like that. Or if there's an event coming up and they invite me to that event, I could clearly say that, hey, I'm not going there. I have work. Or even if I'm not like working, I'll be like, I want my day to be empty today. I don't want to go anywhere. Even if I'm not doing anything, I'll still be honest and truthful about what I want because it's about time that you keep yourself at position one, at priority number one, because you have been prioritizing everybody else above you. You need to have some level of self respect because I didn't back in the days. I didn't have any self respect. You need to have some level of self respect and put yourself at number one priority and say yes to yourself and no to everybody else. Because if you don't do that, then you're living in somebody else's life. You're not living your own life. You're not being the main character in your own life. You've heard about these things, these Instagram motivational quotes that, hey, be the main character in your own movie. You're not doing that. You're not. By saying yes to everybody else, you're saying no to something that you want to do, your purpose, your work, whatever it might be. You're saying no to that thing by saying yes to something else. So always remember this one principle. If you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. I'll repeat it one more time. If you're saying yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Meaning, if you're saying yes to work, you're saying no to going out with friends. If you're saying yes to playing video games, then you're saying no to your work, no to meditation, no to reading that book, no to the gym. So, have less decisions to make in your life. But the decisions you make, understand that if you say yes to something, it needs to have some level of ROI. And you shouldn't be coping and you shouldn't be lying to yourself that, hey, I'm doing that thing because you'll know when you're coping and lying to yourself. Your brain, your heart will tell you that, hey, you're lying, it's a cope. You know you don't want to go there. But you're saying, hey, it will improve my social skills. But no, you don't want to go because you have an exam tomorrow. That's exactly what I did. I would cope and lie to myself that, hey, I want to go out and do this because of social skills. But I didn't need like much social skills. It was just a degen thing. I was wasting my time by roaming around the city, talking to the same people. If it was actually for the improvement of my social skill, I would be talking to new people by myself or in a group of people. And I wouldn't be like, that's a good thing to do. But if you're just roaming around with the same people, Well, where's the social skill? Where's the thing? You're just wasting time. So you need to firstly understand where the problem is coming from. Secondly, you need to reframe and rewire your mind by saying things, delusional things, even if it's a lie. Just say it to yourself 1,000 times until you believe it, and take action by saying no. It will be very uncomfortable to say no. But just like the gym, when you go to the gym and you bench press, or you try to bench press 100 kilogram, you will die. You won't be able to bench press 100 kg day one, but you will be able to bench press 10 kgs, 20 kgs day one. Next week, it's going to be 22 kgs, 23 kgs. Next, 25. Next, 27, 30. That's how you level it up. So, same thing with saying no. Saying no is a skill, and it is uncomfortable, just like going to the gym, just like recording a video for the first time, just like writing your first book. The first page of that book would be fucking painful to write because it is supposed to be painful. If it was easy, you wouldn't be watching this video because you would be doing it by yourself. Firstly, okay, thirdly, you need to say no and try to get the skill set, the practice in. Like, say no to 100 people 1,000 times. Like, say no all of the times. Try to say no. And it will be uncomfortable at the beginning. For me, it was very uncomfortable when I said no. But then you just realize that, firstly, if you stop getting the invites from those types of people for some specific events, let's say you're invited for a party, you're invited to go out and drink, and you don't want to go, and you were like, if I say no, then next time they won't probably invite me. Well, if that's the case, isn't that good? Isn't that what you want? If they won't invite you next time, that's great. You don't have to say no again. But if you're saying yes again and again, they'll keep inviting you. And every single time you'll be like, I don't want to go, but I'll say yes. But if you said once, like, hey, I don't want to go, I'm busy, they'll invite you one more time. If you don't want to go, genuinely, if you don't want to go, just say no. And they won't invite you anymore. There's no pain in that. That's the thing you wanted in the first place. Number three would be set clear boundaries, define boundaries. And I would give you an example. There was this one guy who sort of crossed a boundary once, and I was actually not having it. And I was like, I clearly defined my boundary that day. And the moment afterwards, I saw something that was completely different, which was I saw him respecting me more because I established my boundaries and I told him it was uncomfortable, it was painful because he was a good friend. Painful, but I still defined my boundaries. And afterwards, we became even better friends because he respects me now. I respect him no more, and he respects me more. So you need to set clear boundaries, and you will know when somebody is crossing your boundaries. You will know it. And that's the moment you have to tell that, hey, you did something that I don't feel comfortable with. Don't do it again. And it starts from very low level. You can't just say that straight away, day one. You need to have a goal in mind that, hey, one day I'll be able to say this. But start slow. Start by saying no to some people and saying yes to yourself. Learn to tolerate some level of discomfort that comes in that situation, whether it's with establishing your boundaries, whether it's with saying no to people. Learn to tolerate the discomfort that comes from saying no. Because by saying no to these things, you're living the life you want to live on your terms and conditions. If you're living the life you want to live on your terms and conditions, well, that's the life you wanted to live. And you won't be watching these kinds of videos on how to stop saying yes to people and start saying yes to yourself. Don't be sugarcoating things. Like, I used to sugarcoat a lot of things and try to make it a bit more nicer, try to appeal in a way that is like less threatful, or like if I'm talking to somebody, I would be freaking planes, bro. If I'm talking to somebody, I would say it in a much more nicer way, and I would add like one or two lines to my statement to make it less threatening, to make it as if, hey, I'm not a threat, I'm just a friendly guy. And don't do that. Just be clear, be precise, say exactly what you want to say. There's no harm in that. There's no problem in saying what you want to do. Hey, can you move, please? Done. Instead of saying, hey, can you move? I want to get. No. Just freaking say, hey, can you move? I want to go there. You don't have to define why. You don't have to say in a nicer way. You can be nice, but That doesn't mean you're like sugarcoating yourself and making yourself in like that. Your voice shouldn't be less intimidating. Your voice shouldn't be like lower or higher pitched. When you're talking to somebody and you're trying to be less threatening, you shouldn't be like talking in a higher pitch. You should be talking in the way you want to talk in. I need time for myself today. That's why I won't be going. Thank you for the invite, though. I'm not coming to that event because I have work to do. Or you don't even have to say because. I'm not coming to that event. Start by saying these small things. Practice a bit more, like trying to be more assertive, if that makes sense. Because there's nothing wrong in that. You're not harming anybody. And even if you're harming or hurting somebody's feelings, it's better than hurting your own feeling. It's better than saying no to yourself and like depriving yourself of self respect. It's better than that. So understand that for me, it was a slow journey. Over the years, I developed this skill of saying no to people and being more assertive, being more sort of cutthroat and to the point and precise and not sugarcoating things and trying to be a nice guy. It took me multiple years to get through those things because it's a subconscious brainwashing of wiring that has been done in my childhood. And I think many of us have been brainwashed like that. And it takes time and effort and practice gradually, slowly, 1%, 2% every single time. And it will compound eventually. It won't be like you will be making very small gains at the beginning. You will be feeling very discomfortful, if that's a word. You'll be sometimes saying yes. You will be going against your own beliefs into pleasing other people. These things will happen, but over the years, you will develop this personality where you're cutthroat, you're to the point, you don't people please anymore. You do everything, you're basically more selfish. That's the goal. Be more selfish. And you have to be more selfish if you want to be happy. And if you want to do the things you want to do on your terms, you need to be more selfish and you need to say no's more than you say yeses. At the end, be more aware. And the way you get awareness is by journaling and writing. So do a lot of self reflection. Self reflect. Why the fuck am I messing this word up? Self reflection, journaling, deep journaling. So every Sunday, I will be going over my week or month, and I will be just reflecting upon it, like what happened. If there was an awkward moment, if there was a moment that I didn't like with some people, if there was some action I did that I didn't like, I'll write about it and I'll think about it. That's what reflecting is. And I would come up with a solution because these things are going on in the background of your mind. It's like it's just consuming energy and it is running in your subconscious. So why not just make it conscious, write about it, and eliminate it from your memory so you have more cognitive capacity to focus your energy on the things that you actually care about. So reflect, journal, be extremely mindful, and slowly develop the skill of saying no to people because it's a skill. And just like any skill, it takes time to develop. You are at level 0 right now. You can't expect to be like me or be like somebody else and say something that is so cutthroat and ruthlessly honest day 0. You can't just do that. You'll have to level it up slowly by saying no to small things. And when you get into the habit of saying no, that's when you will make huge improvements. Because at the beginning, it won't be like too much progress, but in 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, it will compound because everything compounds negatively and positively. And once it compounds, you'll be no longer the version of yourself that keeps you down and keeps other people above you. You will be the version of yourself that works for you, lives the life on your own term, and it is or somebody who is cutthroat and honest, because that's what we should all strive for, which is honesty. We shouldn't be lying to people to please them. I hope this video helped you. I hope I'm not yapping too much. It was like a long video. I didn't want to edit it. I just want to. I've seen so many people who are struggling with being a people pleaser and trying to please everybody and then getting hurt in the process. So I was like, let me just record this video because I didn't realize I have made so much progress in this department of saying no to people. And yeah, I wanted to just record a video and share some insights with you. and hopefully it worked and it helped you. It's a 25-minute long video. Good luck with that. If you got to this level, I hope you get some value out of it, and I hope you get out of this vicious cycle of people pleasing and being in this lifestyle, because it genuinely strips you of all self-respect and all boundaries. People will walk all over you all of the times, in relationships, in friendships, in everything, every aspect of your life. Strangers will be walking all over you because they'll spot you and they'll see that, hey, you're weak. You say yes to everything. You're weak. You can be taken advantage of. So stop being a people pleaser and take some steps and actions towards these things, because it will be discomfort. It will be not comfortable. It would be painful, but you need to get through this. And good luck.